Oh, here. Helps if I push the button. I'll get it. All right. So we're going to start over now that we are actually recording. Welcome to the October's Homesteaders and Preppers Guild meeting. Today we are going to talk about food preservation techniques. I am Mikey Gravely. I am the secretary for the Guilds of Requiem. Robin is taking a quick break, but she will be back on screen shortly. And we also have Heather and we have Malik, right? Okay, perfect. All right. So we are going to be talking about food preservation techniques, methods to extend freshness and prevent spoilage. We want to make sure that when we are doing food preservation, we are doing it in the safest way to avoid any contaminant, spoilage, etc., because we definitely don't want anyone to get sick. Food illness is very bad. Sometimes it can lead to being in the hospital. And we want to make sure that we are doing this the safest way possible so that you can have food ready day to day in an emergency or anything like that. So, this is our introduction to food preservation. And please do not pay attention to the movement behind me. My cats are going crazy. So the importance of food preservation. First of all, we are ensuring our food security. Food preservation helps secure food availability by extending the shelf life and storing seasonal produce for future use. Because we all know, if especially you are growing a garden, you know that there are only certain times of the year that you can grow certain foods. And if you want to be able to enjoy that food throughout the year, preserving it is a really good way to do this. Sorry. Reducing food waste. Preserving food significantly reduces spoilage and waste, contributing to more sustainable resource use. So again, especially if you are growing this food, you don't want to waste any of it that you have grown. Keeping it in stock is a great way to have this food all year long. So we want to make sure that we are reducing the food waste by not letting it spoil, but we are preserving it. Promoting self-reliance. Food preservation empowers individuals to manage their own food supply during emergencies or supply distributions. And for all of us that are here, we know what that is actually like. What, 4 years ago, 5 years ago now, we had some supply issues with foods coming into our stores. Having our own food preserved gives us that food we need to carry us through any kind of emergency, especially something like that. National weather issues. All of a sudden, the word just left my brain. But yes, having that food available in an emergency, whether it be a supply issue or a Mother Nature issue, gives you the ability to have food to sustain yourself and your family throughout any of these emergencies. And supporting sustainability. Both traditional and modern preservation methods foster sustainable food management and environmental care. All right, so the benefits of food preservation. It enhances self-reliance. The food preservation supports stable food supply, reducing dependence on stores during emergencies or economic downturns. It extends the shelf life. Preserving food extends shelf life, allowing storage for months up to years and minimizing that food waste. Cost savings. Home preserved food costs less per serving compared to store-bought ready meals, stretching families' budgets. And nutrient retention. Proper preservation methods maintain essential nutrients, keeping food healthy and nourishing. So I will say, for me personally, the biggest reasons that I need to start preserving food is cost savings. Things are becoming more and more expensive, and our paychecks are not matching that. And yeah, I have really come to see that food preservation is going to be a big key for my family because of this. But definitely having the ability to keep foods preserved for months to years is going to be a big key in having that for years to come. All right, so we're going to talk about some canning techniques. The first one, and the one that I think is most popular today, is water bath versus pressure canning. I know people who do both, and some of them say they prefer the pressure canning to water bath, but there are pros for both of them, especially depending on the type of food that you are trying to preserve. Water bath canning is suitable for high acid foods like fruits, jams, and pickles, using the boiling water to prevent bacteria growth. Because again, that bacteria growth is what we want to stay away from, because that can then spoil the food and you can then get sick from eating anything that has spoiled. Pressure canning is necessary for low acid foods such as meats and vegetables, using high temperatures to eliminate botulism risk. So as you can see, both of these types of canning are going to help prevent any bad stuff growing in your food. So you definitely want to make sure that you are using the right method for the food that you are preserving. Selecting the appropriate canning method ensures safe food preservation and prevents that spoilage and foodborne illnesses. Now, this is the one that I grew up with, was the pickling and fermenting. We used to pickle our cucumbers all the time, which bread and butter pickles, we had a conversation about that last month. They're my favorite. But this preservation uses uses vinegar or brine to inhibit spoilage microorganisms, which extends the food shelf life. When you're pickling, it enhances food with tangy, sometimes spicy flavors that complement many dishes. And it is for accessibility and nutrition. It is simple, requires minimal equipment, retains the nutrition, and are suited for home preservation. Growing up, we had we called it the storage room. It was the coldest room in the house. Had all of our cans in there. I will say I personally feel that when they moved the dryer into that room, it no longer became the ultimate and optimal place to have the canned foods. So definitely make sure that you are in an environment where it is going to stay a temperature that is conducive to keeping these foods safe and sealed. Now, fermenting uses beneficial bacteria to convert sugars into acids or alcohol, which then again extends the food shelf life. Health benefits are that fermented foods are rich in probiotics that support gut health and boost the immune system. And they are sustainable home technique as well. It requires minimal equipment, helps preserve seasonal produce, which reduces the food waste. So again, you can see that we are going back to low waste or no waste, having foods throughout the year, even if you can't grow them in your garden. So fermenting is a really good way to do that as well. I personally have never fermented before. My son has tried it with several different things. We're still learning how to do this. So I'm definitely open to learning how to do this and being safe and having food for years to come.
Tag Iris on any posts for pickling and fermenting. Iris does fermenting.
Perfect. Yeah, because I definitely want to learn how to do this safely. So I haven't pickled since I was a teenager, and I need to get back into that too. All right. So my son just hollered and says he pickles onions. He does. He pickles onions. They taste amazing. I have not. All right. So now we're going to talk. Oops, sorry. Drying and freeze drying. So drying versus dehydrating. So again, there's two different ways to do this. Traditional drying method uses sunlight and air to remove the moisture, offering a low cost preservation technique, but with variable results. So obviously you're not using any electricity, but you are pretty much at the mercy of the environment. So if it's wet or humid outside, drying is a little bit harder to do in a consistent basis. Controlled dehydration uses electric heat and airflow for consistent moisture removal, leading to more reliable and uniform food preservation. So that, of course, would be using a dehydrator like you see in the picture. And that is the way that I have dehydrated before. Both drying and dehydrating maintain nutritional value, reduce weight, and create portable, long-lasting food products. Oh, okay. Mom in a meeting for her field stuff, and I am sitting here. Hi, John. Welcome.
Hello.
All right. Now we're going to talk about freeze drying. So this process involves freezing food and removing moisture through sublimation to preserve quality. The benefits of freeze drying retain the original texture, flavor, and nutrients better than other drying techniques. Applications and usage: freeze dried foods are lightweight, long lasting, ideal for emergencies, backpacking, and storage, which is the one big thing I like about freeze dried. I can throw it in my backpack when I'm hiking, and I have food to take with me along the way. Little bit harder to take something that's canned in your backpack. And equipment and cost. So freeze drying equipment can be costly, but offers significant benefits in food longevity and quality. So deciding which of these drying techniques works best for you at the moment doesn't have to be the same technique you use throughout. You can switch back and forth, but do realize that the freeze drying equipment is a little bit more expensive than, say, a dehydrator. All right. So I am still learning, but does anybody have any questions that maybe any of us that are here can help answer or direct you to an answer?
Yeah, no, these people weren't protesting. They're out on jet skis and fishing and all that stuff. Yeah, everything was.
Okay. All right. Does the screen look okay? Okay. Wanted to make sure. All right. How did I do, Robin? Did I do okay? Hopefully I didn't go too fast this time, because I am definitely known for doing that.
Our nerves get the better of us, and we just start going full speed.
Yeah, and I can tell that's why I slow down when I stumble over my words, and that is where I am teaching myself to slow down when I'm doing presentations. So
a question that I've been asked a lot is, can you use Instapots to can? Because there's one out there that says you can use it for canning. Consider it just to be water bathing only. There's no way that you can measure the amount of pressure that an Instapot has built up in it, along with the internal temperature. So when you're trying to pressure can, use a pressure canner. They got stovetop, which I'm going to tell you right now, heats the house up because you got to have your stove hot. And then they have electric ones. They get warm too. I wouldn't brush by them and, and say, oh, that's not hot, but it is.
Yeah. Right now, I have an electric stove. Like, we don't have gas in this house at all. So I would have to use an electric one.
Yeah, it can only fit on the one front burner, and the pot is very much larger than my burner itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everything's starting to switch to the electric stuff, you know?
Yeah. And it's going to be one of those, okay, I need to get an electric stove that has a burner that's big enough for a pressure pot. Thank you very much. So they need to make pressure pot electric stoves.
Well,
I'd probably just get an electric canner.
See, I
rather than doing it on
like
the stovetop.
having both, because if we're doing a whole bunch of canning at one time, then I can have multiple things going.
True.
Because when I do it on the stove, it takes, here the beans were 90 minutes at 15 pounds. So that actually, to get to the 15 pounds and to come off all and release pressure, took almost 4 hours.
Wow.
So that really limited how many beans I could do in one day. There's only 8 jars fit in there. But with the electric canners, you know, I've got 3 of them that fit, you know, 8 jars each. So that's 24 jars. I've got Matt's a whole week of food for Matt done right there.
Wow.
I do have one question. I'd seen when just looking at stuff about canning, that with pickles, especially like bread and butter chips, sweet pickles, you can basically just put the cucumbers in the brine and all, and then just close the jar and stick it in the fridge.
Yeah, that's pretty much what pickling and fermenting is.
Okay,
is just letting it sit in it. To get better penetration, and I mean, if you're doing whole dill pickles, you want to make sure that your brine is hot.
Yeah,
and then you know, then go forward from there.
But I'll probably start with that, because I'm not sure I'm ready to do like water bath or pressure canning, and I do like sweet pickles.
I like my dills.
That is how Ben pickles the onions. He'll just put it in the brine, stick it in the refrigerator for like 4 or 5 days, and he'll test one and it'd be like, all right, they're ready, or no, they need to go for a little bit longer. So that's how he does the onions. I haven't done any, you know, pressure pickling or anything like that yet either. So I just have to make sure that when I do pickle, they turn completely into pickle, because if it still tastes and chews like a cucumber, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. It is really weird how being sick on cucumbers as a kid, I cannot eat them as cucumbers. I can eat pickles all day, every day. My body doesn't like me afterwards, but yeah.
True.
Like, all right, girlfriend, that's a lot of sodium. That's a lot. Stop. That's why I was like, yeah, we had that conversation last month about the bread and butter pickles. And I'm like, more for me then.
If I can share screen.
My presentation went really fast.
Okay. It was meant to be fast because we've got Amateur Radio Guild. We signed up 4 more people today. I was at an event in Pipe Creek today. Brought my radios with, had complete intentions on trying to make some contact with people over the radio, and they set me by the stage.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. They're just having radio, whatever. So I heard my call sign being asked for, and I keyed up my radio and walked their entire system, sound system. So we left the radios off. And then comes a singer, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't, you know, while they're singing, they got the volume cranked up, can't do nothing. And then another singer, and then we had a band for 5.5 hours.
Go polka music.
Yes. I don't want to call it classic country because it's old time country and polka music and honky tonk. And a lot of songs that, even though I was raised by my grandparents, I never heard. And they were having technical issues.
Oh my gosh.
So it wasn't it wasn't me screeching the causing the feedback. They were doing it themselves. But we did get 4 new people.
Awesome.
We did kind of have fun. We had the GMRS, the General Mobile Radio Systems. They were there with the volunteer fire departments that were at the event. And so we all kind of sat there, and when they weren't playing and the music wasn't loud, we talked back and forth. And so people thought that was cool that, you know, you could talk to somebody from all the way across the other side without using a phone. So that was my big one today. Yeah, big win today. And then we sold a t-shirt. And somebody took a order form. So, what I wanted to point out was, and this was a big thing that was brought up to me, right now the FCC is shut down. So that means they are not processing any licenses. So if you do not already have your my brain is just going to go quiet. Shut down.
Yeah, that number.
The FRN. Yeah. I don't remember what it is right now. I've been up since 5.
That's okay. But yeah,
I know in the sun.
Holy moly.
FCC registration number. There it is.
There you go. Yeah.
You need to have one of those before you can take any licensing exams or before you can get your GMRS licensing. So everything is on a hold for that. They go back to work and their systems come up. You can apply for your FRN, and then you can, if you want to do your GMRS, it's $35, good for 10 years, and it covers everyone in your immediate family. And then you can go, you know, if you've already taken your licensing for technicians, general, or extra, then they will process it at that time, and you'll get the email to pay for your licensing fees. So they do have workarounds for it right now. So unfortunately, until you have that license, you can't be on the air. You can listen, but you can't cue that mic.
Yeah.
That was everything I had for it. Mikey, you want to go ahead and stop the recording and we'll just have general conversation?